Um, Welcome to Men's Style Fashion. Who are you and what do you do?
My name's Big Phil Campion, and I'll do almost anything.
Phil, talk about your history.
I was born in I was born in London, although I was brought up in children's homes. I joined the army at an early age, and then from there I ended up in Special Forces. I did a little bit of time with Special Forces, the SAS.
Yep.
Once I'd finished there, I got out and I went straight on what we call the circuit, or the circus.
Yep.
And I went all over the world, Afghanistan, Iraq, all up and down Africa. Basically, you name a trouble spot, and I got my nose involved in there somehow. So that was it.
What was so appealing about that line of work to you?
I think I've always enjoyed the challenge, and there's no greater challenge than when your life depends on something. So for me, it's like the ultimate. I've always been told that I'm the kind of person that I always take things to the next level. You know what I mean? So that's what I try and do that wherever I go.
Can we talk about your new project?
Yeah, of course, can. Yeah, my latest venture is a boxing match, and it's something I've wanted to get involved with for years. I've been boxing in it, I helped a number of clubs, but I never managed to find myself a match because telling people, well, there's an ex-SAS guy that wants to fight you, they think you're going to be a Vulcan death grip and dead in the first round, So it's either that or some boxer comes along who's had 500 fights, he's a golden ring champion, just knocks you out. So it was a pretty pointless venture, and I couldn't find anybody to fight me. So a friend of mine said, why don't you fight someone from your old unit? There's bound to be someone there. And a friend of mine, Rob Paxman, he took up the challenge, and we said, right, we'll get it on for charity. I found a friend of mine who ran charitable events. We stuffed ourselves on his bill, and we sold the thing out, and it went really well. And he said to me, right, well, how can we take this up again? And I thought, well, look, if people are willing to put their hands in their pockets to see two blokes fight, how about I put a whole team of us together and we go and challenge our opposite number over the water, and we'll have a tear up with them. And that's exactly what it is. It's not so much boxing, it's fighting with gloves on. It's guys that are prepared to lay everything on the line for what they believe. And so we're all fighting for our own individual charities.
What's coming up for people to buy into?
We've got a charity night in the Grosvenor, which is like our launch party of the team, and that's in September on the 8th, I believe. And then that's followed by in November, it's going to be the Remembrance Rumble, and that's in the York Hall, and that's on the 11th of November.
Okay. And have you got your team? Who will you be fighting?
I've got my team, yeah. I've got 8 guys, all ex-SAS, all good geezers, all wouldn't have a proper tear up with these Americans. And my opposite number over there, he's a US Navy SEAL, and he's got a team of all ex-Special Forces from all over America. So, they can bring it over here and they can try their luck.
What's so appealing about fighting?
I think fighting and me, it's like, if you were into art, I'd say what's so appealing about drawing a picture? You know what I mean? It's one of those things where it's what I do, and I'm passionate about it. I enjoy it. Unfortunate downside of it is you just can't employ those skills any way you like. You've got to have a reason and a purpose to do that. So the army was one thing. In civilian life, you can't just go tearing around the road and around doing what you like. And boxing gives me that. It gives me that in my life. I can go out and I can train and I can spar against other people, and then we can take it to the next notch in the ring and try your luck.
Since Brexit, hate crime has gone right up. What's your thought on, it's an excuse?
Yeah, I think it is. I think, like I've always maintained, that you'd have got a certain amount of people would have voted one way, a certain amount of people would have voted the other. The swayers did what they did. They were convinced by one party or the other. But on the far extremes of both sides, there are people doing nasty things. And to me, I don't condone any of that. Politics I don't get involved with per se, but I go along with what the majority say, which is how a democratic society works. And these people are just, they're being stupid. If we'd have lost, if the out campaign had have lost, the far right would have kicked off, and you'd have had a few city centres mixed up, and the other side have lost in this instance, and you're still getting people on the streets turning out, these so-called pacifists and all the rest of it. They're making just as much noise. They've become as stereotypical as the other geezers on the other side. That just goes to show, it's not. It's there. It's
Yeah.
It's just horrible.
How can we sort of channel this energy in the right way. I loved what you did with 'cause a lot of Brexit was on the fear of the immigrants and the influx. A lot of media to blame for that.
Yeah, I think they made a meal of that. And although I voted out, last night I went down a pub. I got on a bus that was driven by an African. I went to a pub and served beer by an Eastern European, and I had a kebab from a Turkish man on the way home. I'm all for them people. I love them. I think they're great. And it's our society and it's how it is nowadays.
Yeah.
I just think we need to be able to control what comes and goes now. Do you know what I mean? I'm not saying that overnight we better kick everybody out, because that's not how it is. They're here. Do you know what I mean? But then I'm also saying that, hang on a minute, we need to just sort of like keep an eye on what does happen, because, things are getting a little bit overcrowded in certain areas. So, there's nothing racist about it. I'm not racist. I've got mixed race grandchildren, for Christ's sake. No, we've lost, so I'm going to go and beat them up. That don't figure, does it? It's ridiculous.
You have been in war. Can you sort of explain what these poor immigrants are coming from?
Yeah, I mean, the ones that really have had a hard time, and I went to Syria last year, and I've been on the refugee camps over there, and believe you me, these people want to go home. They don't want to be here.
Yeah.
A lot of them are saying, we don't want to be sat in this camp. We want to be back in Mosul or wherever it is they were turfed out of. And they're like, they've had some hideous experiences. Now, as with everything, there are people that sort of like ride the wave and come here that probably shouldn't, or jump on the back of it, lose their paperwork and all the rest of it. Well, that needs weeding out, and that's another reason why we need to be taking the decisions and not other people. It's a very difficult situation, but for me personally, I don't care where you come from in the world. If you need help, this country should provide it for you.
Yeah. Final question. Your personal style. Have
I got any style at all?
What do you think about it? Because my message is very simple. I want to see men dress well. I don't care what background you're from. It's important. It gives you confidence. Is something now with this charity something you're going to consider more and more?
Yeah, I think, I've taken my lump out of society in my time. Do you know what I mean? I've not been perfect. I've not had an easy ride of things, but I'm in a position now where hopefully I can try and put a little bit back.
Yeah.
On the fashion side of life, my mum said it's extremely important that you always wear nice shoes. They don't have to be the best in the world, but they have to be looked after. And when people judge you, you should judge it from the shoes up, according to my mother, and I think that's very true. Do you know what I mean? You can often gauge a person's whole being by how tidy their feet are dressed.
I've interviewed one of the most influential tattoo model, and I recently interviewed one of the most powerful tattoo artists. Comes from Manchester. Do you mind talking a little bit about your tattoos?
I will talk about my tattoos.
Yeah.
Of course. They're a mess, if I'm absolutely perfectly honest. I like them. They all have some sort of meaning or another. They're either covering something up, or they were from one trip or another. So they've all got some reason for being there. There's nothing there. There's nothing there that I haven't actually wanted to put on there. The way they look, well, I'm happy with it. If you don't like it, look away.
Oh, listen, I think what you're doing is very unique and very exciting. If people want to get involved, what do they need to do?
Right, I'm sure we'll be able to provide the links
Yep.
in here somewhere. So we'll have all the links available to you. But you're going to see a fair amount of this about. We've got a couple of big people behind us. The Sun newspaper are going to roll us out big time. In any way, if you can support us or come and see us, even that'd be great. We'd love to see you. Just keep them peeled. I'll be on Twitter, I'll be on Facebook, I'll be on Instagram, as will the people here. So just get behind us and give us a thumbs up, give us the odd like.
Well,
Makes it worthwhile.
the next time I see you, it'll be in the boxing ring, I hope.
Yeah.